Joining us now, Asher Fredman, the former director for Israel at the Abraham Accords Peace Institute. Give us your thoughts on this historic day, Asher.
Thank you, John. This truly is a historic day. The terror attack on October 7th happened on the Jewish holiday of Simchat Torah, the joy of the Torah. And that holiday, according to the Hebrew calendar, is starting in a few hours from now. So this is exactly 2 years to the date, according to the Hebrew calendar. And it wouldn't have happened without President Trump, without his team, Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff, and others who truly, like with the Abraham Accords, where they did the impossible. They did what everybody had thought could not be done. Here, once again, they've done the impossible. And also the credit has to be given to Prime Minister Netanyahu, to the IDF, which put real military pressure on Hamas and brought them to the point where they were willing to release the hostages.
There had not been that kind of pressure. One thinks that Hamas would have continued on this cat and mouse game of keeping the hostages and trying to twist international opinion through their use.
Absolutely. It was the Israeli military pressure, the entering into Gaza City. I have to say also, even this was quite controversial, the Israeli strike on Doha, which communicated to the Hamas leadership in Doha that no, they were not immune. And also critically, the close coordination and partnership between President Trump, Prime Minister Netanyahu, between their teams, Minister Dermer, Jared Kushner, and Witkoff, between the United States and Israel, which communicated to Hamas, which communicated to the Middle East that the war has to end, that the hostages have to come home, and that we have to open up a new chapter for the region.
So many people have been critical of Israel and the Israeli Defense Forces when they look at the rubble that is now, what used to be Gaza City, and 90% of it is now destroyed. And yet one has to remember there were hostages taken, 1,200 people killed on October 7th, 251, I believe, is the number that were taken hostage. Had Hamas simply released those hostages at any time in the last 2 years, the bombardment of Gaza could have stopped, right?
Absolutely. And we have to recall that why is there so much rubble? There's rubble because Hamas's weapons factories, Hamas's terror tunnels, Hamas's hideouts were under those houses, were under those schools, were under those hospitals. And unfortunately, much of the media, obviously not Fox News, but much of the media bought hook, line, and sinker all of Hamas's libels, all these claims of starvation, which we're now seeing images of people in Gaza. Nobody there is starving. Claims of genocide. We're seeing people coming out and claiming victory. And, obviously, we're seeing that all of these claims that were unfortunately parroted by too much of the media over the last 2 years were entirely false. And the big question is what comes next? Hamas has made clear that they're not going to demilitarize. They're already assassinating, massacring any of their enemies or any of the people who dared stand up to them over the last several years. The aid is going to come in. Hamas can use that to rebuild its military capabilities. And the United States and Israel will need to work very carefully, hand in hand, in order to make sure that Hamas isn't once again able to draw the region into another devastating conflict that nobody wants to see. Not Israel, not its Arab and Muslim partners, and certainly not the United States.
Asher Fredman, thank you.